What's going on, guys? This is my first Civilization video. I'm going to be playing as Alexander on Immortal difficulty, and I'll kind of give you a rundown on what I like to do as Alexander to win my games. Generally speaking, all these settings are default. No secret societies. This is on Gathering Storm. And it's going to be on continents with a small map. I find a lot of people like to do Pangea for Domination, and that's fine, but most maps have islands, and it's a good idea to get used to using navies and not relying on just land units the whole time. I choose a small map size, generally because on standard it's a pretty massive map, and you'd have a lot of civs you'd have to deal with. Here on standard, I think it's only 6. But Alexander's got some really good abilities. His Hypaspis replaced the Swordsman, which they have 38 combat strength as opposed to 36. So they're a little bit stronger, but they also have a defense bonus as well, where they take less damage from melee units if you stack them on top of one another. So that's generally what I'm going to be using. So this strategy, basically I'm actually going to go for a religion, an early religion. Here I'm just getting mining so that I can have the ability to chop woods, but generally with Alexander you don't go religion. You usually just go into encampments and you build encampments. You get the great general points to get a great general. You get like 4 or 5 swordsmen with a battering ram, and you attack. This strategy is quite a bit different from that. Basically you're going to get 2 quick cities, and you're going to try to get your religion as soon as possible, because what we want to do is we want to get Crusade. Crusade gives you plus 10 combat strength when you're fighting another city that has your religion, and plus 10 combat strength is pretty nuts. It's going to make your units pretty much impossible to kill. Not impossible, but very, very hard to kill for the AI, which is a good thing. We also found I guess it's called a holy city-state, so we're going to be getting +1 faith in our capital, which is really good, because you want to try to get a fast pantheon with this strategy. Because our primary goal for the first, I would say, 100 turns should really just be getting your religion and trying to generate as much faith as possible. And the way you generate a lot of faith is, I'm surrounded by rainforests, and there's a pantheon that gives you a +1 adjacency bonus for each rainforest. And I'm also surrounded by mountains, so I can get some really good holy sites, which will generate me a lot of faith. So I was pretty fortunate to find that. I generally like to go, as far as the build order, I like to go a slinger first into a monument. A lot of people use scouts, and that's totally fine. Like, scouts are good. I used to use them quite a lot. In fact, I'd go double scout into monument, but I kind of opt for the slingers now. I feel like having the slingers makes it so that you can upgrade them into archers later on, and archers are just amazing in the early part of the game because they really help with defense. On the higher difficulties, you're going to get attacked by barbarians and usually another civ, so having archers in your cities is pretty much a requirement. And slingers are cheap to build, they don't take that long, and you can upgrade them for only 60 gold, so it's not a bad idea to make a slinger first. Here I'm just taking out the barbarian camp. If you kill a unit with a slinger, you boost archery, so that's kind of another reason why I like to have slingers. try to get a kill with a slinger. That way I don't have to hard tech archery. But you can see after that monument, it pretty much doubled my culture. So I'm making 3.5 a turn, where I think before I was making like 1.8. So it's pretty important to get that early monument. I'm a big advocate of that. And now I'm just getting a second city. Normally in a game when you're playing on high difficulty, normally you want to pump out cities like crazy. This strategy, I only had 2 cities. My capital and then this secondary city for like 80 turns or so. And as you'll find out later in the video, this strategy is just so broken that you don't need to worry about science. You don't need to worry about settling a lot of cities early on. You can just make 2 cities. As long as you have decent adjacency with your holy sites, you know, I would say at least a +2. These ended up being +4 and +5 if I remember right. You're good. Like you can use this strategy. Basically, you're combining Alexander's already pretty powerful for domination in the classical era, but then you throw Crusade on there. He gets an additional +10. You use all the extra faith to basically convert people and also to buy great people that are really good. Like there's a great person in the medieval era that transforms a unit to a core unit, which is really good. But here what I'm getting is, I believe it's called Sacred Path, which gives you +1 adjacency for rainforests, and I'm just checking all the rainforests around me. That's huge. That gives you very good adjacency on holy sites for this area. If I was surrounded by desert, then I would choose the one that supports me for desert. There's another one for tundra, which is also good. So I was able to get that, which is huge. Here I'm just settling my second city. And I'm just continuing to scout. Anyway, back to what I was saying about the strategy. You don't have to build, like I don't even make a campus. Like honestly, like when I was just beginning this game, I remember every city I made, the first building I'd make was a campus, because I'd be stressing about, oh, I gotta catch up on science, I gotta catch up on culture. When you're doing domination, it's honestly much better to just focus on building units as quickly as you can and getting as many bonuses in your favor as you can, so you can just steamroll everybody and essentially let them build the campuses. You know, you can just take them. You can just take them over, and there's nothing they can do about it. So here I have 2 holy sites that I put down simultaneously. They both have pretty good bonuses on them. I like to save my gold generally for a builder, but also so I can eventually upgrade my slingers, which I only have 1, but I will pump out some more later on. The first, 80 turns or so are not that exciting. Basically, it's just me kind of scouting around, making units. I don't actually attack until I get Crusade, until I have the cities converted and get Crusade, which happens around turn 100. And that's generally with this strategy when I like to attack, is about turn 100. So that's a pretty good time, in my opinion. When I was playing Alexander without religion and just basically making encampments and getting a general and getting 5, Hypaspis with a battering ram, generally I'd be attacking around like turn 40-ish on online speed, which would be turn 80 for standard speed. So it's only a little bit slower than that, about 20 turns slower. But you get an additional +10 combat strength from Crusade, so it more than makes up for it. What's really nice about this strategy is we're also going to have archers, and normally archers don't do that much damage to walls, because there's a negative. They basically have like a minus 17 penalty for shooting walls. Well, Crusade gives them plus 10. The General, when they get upgraded into crossbowmen, gives them plus 5. So that actually allows them to overcome that that minus 17 penalty. And they actually, crossbowmen with this strategy actually do really good damage to walls. They can just do some great damage and chip away at them very quickly, and then you pair them up with siege units like bombards or trebuchets or whatever you have, catapults, and you can drop cities really fast. Even on the high difficulty. I mean, this is this is Immortal difficulty, so it's the second highest difficulty. I haven't tried this on Deity. I will eventually, but I know that on Deity you generally have to play differently than the other difficulties, because Deity is just, you have so many things stacked against you, and you kind of have to play the game in a completely different way on Deity, which I don't really like, so, you know. But maybe I'll try this strategy on Deity and see how it works out. Right now I'm just running, okay, I'm trying to befriend one of these civs, and usually if you send a delegation to one of them, so see, I'm trying to send a delegation, and I was able to send it to Lady Six Guy. Generally, if you do that and you make a deal, they'll like you enough that you can be friends, and that's really important, because gold is going to be a huge problem for like the first, I would say the first third of the game. I'm going to be struggling on gold because I'm building 2 holy sites straight away, and I'm building units, and I don't really have, I mean, I do have truffles, which is nice. I do have cocoa, so I mean, I have some ways to make gold and some cotton up there, but I'm going to be pretty tight on gold. So as soon as I get those luxury resources, I'm going to sell them to my friend in the game, because if you're friends with someone, they'll actually give you some pretty decent gold back. They're actually quite generous, so you can get a lot of free gold from them. So it's always a good idea to befriend them. And another reason why it's a good idea is because you can have a joint military alliance with them, where they can, or a joint war, and you'll get 5 extra combat strength from that added to your units. So that's nice. So it's definitely a good idea to try to befriend one of the civs. Like, I can tell straight away that I'm gonna go after Cleopatra. She hates me already. She pretty much hated me as soon as she saw me. But anyway, I'm just doing some, I don't remember what it's called. It's the holy site. I can't remember what it's called, but it allows you to basically get a profit quickly. Holy site prayers, that's what it is. I think I did it 2 or 3 times, which you might be thinking like, oh, like you could use that production to make builders or to get a settler out. Trust me, like, you want to get if you're going to religion, you want to get it as fast as possible. I already have good adjacency on my holy sites, so like I'm already pumping in 17 faith a turn, which is pretty good. You want to get as much faith as possible though, so you can spam out missionaries and convert people. So I make sure to get that as fast as possible. And so I'm just kind of chilling. Egypt settled Thebes right in my face, which normally in a normal game I would be upset about that, but in this game I was actually happy about it because it's just another city I can take. Like, you can honestly be very patient, you know, with this strategy. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to attack them straight away with a bunch of archers and warriors. Like, you can just kind of hang back and, you know, I'm already, you know, set up. I just got my religion. I think now I start to make, I make a trader. I make a trader so I can get a little bit more gold. But just kind of chilling. Like I said earlier, I keep these 2 cities, or I only have these 2 cities for quite a while as I'm kind of getting set up. And spoiler alert, I completely steamroll Egypt. I pretty much knocked them out of the game. So you can, when you have all these bonuses stacked on your units, the +5 from a great general, the +10 from crusade, the +4 from oligarchy, that's +19 combat strength. Like no civ can really deal with that in the classical medieval era. Like when your swordsmen have like over 60 combat strength, that's more than a musketman. That's why this strategy is so dumb. It's just like it's like you're unbeatable. And here I'm checking for iron. I actually played a few games before trying to do the strategy, and there was no iron on the entire continent, and it was kind of pissing me off. And the only iron was right there, so I just snatched it right away. Just made sure I got it. You can also do this with horses as well, but then you have the problem with the walls. You can't use horses with battering rams, so that's kind of an issue, so you'd have to rely on siege units. But generally though, I would say, honestly, 70% of the time you'll have iron that spawns pretty close to your main city. I just had really bad odds with it the last couple games where there's no iron anywhere. And it was brutal. There's no horses anywhere either. It was dumb. So, because Alexander is having a religion, I thought I'd make a fitting name for it, Alexander Fan Club. As far as like which ones to choose, I'm a big fan of work ethic if I'm going to be attacking. Feed the World is also really good because it gives you extra food to allow your cities to grow more. But work ethic gives you so much extra production, because I had, I think, a +4 and a +5 adjacency on those 2 holy sites. So it makes perfect sense to get work ethic. That's just free production. And then when I get the double adjacency card later on, it'll be +8 and +10 free production for each city respectfully. So that's pretty good. So I opt for that. And then I was trying to decide whether I should get the +3 gold for each city or the +2 faith. I don't actually do crusade straight away. I'll actually get temples, or get 1 temple, make an apostle, and then I'll get crusade. Because I feel like right now, in the early part of the game, you should just be trying to get as much cities converted as you can, and getting that extra +2 faith for each city converted helps a lot. It really allows you to snowball and get a bunch of faith, which is a good thing. So it's a pretty good start right now. That trader's nice because it goes straight through Egypt, which allows my units to go to Egypt quicker, which is always a good thing. And yeah, we basically start converting. You don't have to worry about civs, crucifying. Is it called crucifying when they kill your religious units? I'm just gonna say it's crucifying. You don't have to worry about them killing them. If you're not at war, they can't really do anything about it. It's only when you're at war with them when they'll actually, kill your religious units. And you definitely don't want that happening, because if they kill a religious unit, basically every city that's around that religious unit will receive a boost to their original religion, which is not good if you're trying to convert them. So you want to keep them alive. Don't let the AI capture them, which pretty much every game there's a few times when they capture them, but you want to try to keep it to a minimum. Here I opted to build an encampment, and that's what I like to do. I like to get the religion by getting the holy sites, make a trader, and then I go for an encampment on my capital. The reason for that is I want to get great general points, so I can get a general. That'll give me +5 combat strength, like I said earlier. Plus it gives you an extra +1 movement, so you can move around a lot faster. So it's a really good idea. You could do this without the general, sure, but like you might as well try to make the strongest attack you can. Having an additional +5 might not seem like a lot, but everything adds up. Here I'm just marking down a campus, which is +6, which I thought looked really good because geothermal fissures give you +2 adjacency. And then he's trying to get my iron because, yeah, he doesn't have any, but nope, we're not doing that. And then here I purchased the, I don't know how to say it, Basilicoi-Pides? I don't know. It's basically Macedon's replacement for the barracks. It gives you, basically when you train units out of the city that has that building, they get free science equal to half the production cost of that unit that was built. So you basically get, you know, a lot of free science if you're building a lot of units, which we're going to be doing later on. We're going to be building the majority of our army through Pella, and that's just going to give us a lot of free science, which is going to help us catch up. And I'm just going to town on these cities. Luckily, they didn't really have a religion themselves, so they're very easy to convert. And it's definitely a good idea to convert them as quickly as possible. The longer you wait, the longer, you know, you're giving them to establish their own religion, and then it's a lot harder to convert a city that, you know, has religious pressure on it, and they have their own missionaries running around trying to, you know, convert you. It gets kind of annoying, so you want to be quick about it. I think, okay, yeah, I'm getting irrigation, so I can get that cocoa, because my gold is, I think it's, yeah, it's not very much. Definitely want to get some more gold, because I'm going to be making about 5 hypaspists, about 2 or 3 archers, and 2 catapults. So I'm going to need decent amount of gold to support all that. For the age, I like to get Exodus of the Evangelist. I think that's how you say it. Basically, every time you convert a city, you get era score, so it's a very easy way to get a golden age, which ideally you want to have a golden age when you're attacking, because loyalty is kind of a annoying thing to deal with. Trying to attack in a dark age is just horrible. Attacking in a golden age, it's not bad at all, really. You just put a governor in there and maybe a unit, and most of the time, as long as it's, you know, the city has decent enough pop when compared to all the other ones around it, you don't have to worry about loyalty switching. Here I'm just making some slingers because this is something you want to do. Check out the military strength of the civs that are around you, because Cleopatra was just spamming units like crazy, and I was starting to get a little bit concerned, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna make some units, because she was probably on her way to attack me, and making those extra units maybe stopped her in her tracks. And then I typically like to put the warriors in front, archers behind, because archers are pretty frail and they can shoot over the warriors, and yeah, all that good stuff. Just continuing to convert, which is nice. Every city that you get converted is +2 faith, so I think I'm making, yeah, I'm making over 40 faith a turn already, which is really good. Okay, and then I opt for another slinger. Now, as far as the army, you know, 5 hypaspists, 2 archers, 2 catapults. You might think, well, you don't need catapults if you have a battering ram. That's true. Technically, you don't need catapults. But Gathering Storm made a lot of changes to the vanilla game, and one of those changes is that Once the enemy has medieval walls, battering rams are useless, and you need to use siege towers if you want to continue, you know, attacking the walls with melee units. But once they get Renaissance walls, siege towers are now useless. And that's a problem, because I kind of found that out in earlier playthroughs when I was trying out strategies like this in Domination in general. I would forego the siege units, and I would just make the battering ram and just be like, oh, I'll just upgrade it to a siege tower. It'll be all good. Even if you have units that have, like, I had units that were plus 30 combat strength, like 30 combat strength higher than what the city defense was. So if the city defense was 50, mine were like at like 85, and they still did nothing to the walls or to the city, because they had the Renaissance walls. So you absolutely need to have some siege units. And preferably I like to have 2, but one is just fine. But you want to make sure to keep it alive and make sure it gets promoted. You're really looking to get the last promotion where you get the +1 range on it, because then it's just a killer. You can just kind of hang it outside. You don't have to worry about it getting shot by the city, and you can just, you know, chuck giant rocks at the cities and do tons of damage. So yeah, she's trying to get my iron too. Never do that. Never give away never give away iron to the civ you're trying to conquer. It's a very bad idea. Or horses. That's what the ally is for that you made earlier. You trade it to them. As long as they're your ally or your friend, your declared friend, it's impossible for them to go to war with you. You can honestly, you know, as soon as it lasts for 30 turns, I believe. And once the counter is over, you can just restart it. You can just ask them to see, hey, do you want to be my friend again? And as long as you do it like right after it ends, they'll agree, and they'll say, yeah, sure, we can be friends again. Even if you have a bunch of grievances from you know, capturing other cities and raising cities and stuff, like, as long as you do it straight away, you can just keep being their friend. So yeah, you can trade with them all you want, but you do not want to trade with the people you're trying to kill. Here I'm just checking, seeing how close I am to getting a general. Generally, I like to get Strategos for that additional, I think it's +3 points, so you get a total of 5, which really helps with getting that general quickly. There's some generals we want to keep track of, like keep an eye on. There's one in the medieval era that, like I said earlier, creates a core unit. That one's really huge. There's another general, I believe it's Napoleon Bonaparte, in the industrial era that can create an army unit. That's really good. So you want to try to get both of those. And here I'm just kind of waiting. I already have my, like, Egypt's already pretty much completely fully converted. I'm pretty much just waiting for ironworking, which is about to be there, waiting for the general, and I'm also trying to get temples as well.
After a loss in loyalty,
so I can get crusade, because technically I don't have crusade. Oh, I forgot I actually built Temple of Artemis. Completely forgot about that. I think it was because I had no food on that city, and it had 4 pop, and it wasn't growing anymore, and I thought, Temple of Artemis is only 8 turns because I have all this extra production from work ethic. I'll just build it. That turned out well. See, I'm taking anything that I can make, any extra gold with my ally. I'm gonna make a deal with them. Because you don't need to worry about amenities. When your cities are only, you know, 3 pop, 4 pop, 5 pop, whatever, amenities really, I mean, I'm not going to say they don't matter, because you do get, if they're a static, you get like a 20% increase to all yields. If they're happy, it's like +10. When that definitely helps, but like, honestly, early on, gold is much more important than yields. If you have a steady supply of gold, you can make units faster, like instantly. You can make builders, you can make settlers. Gold is so important. More important than, you know, whatever, the 10 or 20% increase in yields. Because my yields aren't even that good anyway. I mean, 10% of 6 is not very much. 10% of 5 is not very much. So it doesn't really matter. You know, it doesn't matter. Just take your amenities and sell them to your ally, get extra gold, use that gold to, you know, create your army that you're going to use to kill everybody with. And they're still pumping out units. I mean, I think at this point they have like close to 400 combat strength. And I remember starting to get a little worried. I was like, oh god. So I went ahead and gemmed up those slingers that I had, and then I have 3 archers. Because I was kind of worried. I was like, oh god, you know. And here I'm gonna put that builder there so I can chop out. I think I chop out a settler. Yeah, I thought about going for a wonder. I was like, I could go for another one, but then I'm like, no, I only have 2 cities. Like I need to get more cities out. And I build a settler on each. But yeah, generally after getting your government, you want to head straight for theology so you can make temples. Because you want to get an apostle. You want to buy an apostle so that you can evangelize your belief. Which basically means you're going to add an additional perk to your religion. And what we want to add is crusade. Now, some people, they like to get crusade straight away. That definitely can work. But I like to get pilgrimage first, just so I get a lot of extra faith coming in. You could also do teeth as well. I think that's how you say it, teeth. So you get +3 gold per city. I have done that, and that definitely works as well. It's also a really good option. So there's more than one way to do this kind of thing. And see, there we go. Like the deal, or where we become friends, like it lasts for only like 30 turns, and I just automatically renewed it, and then I offered open borders. I got an additional +3 gold a turn. Like there you go. Like you can get a lot of extra gold from just making trades to a friend like that. I think here I'm trying to decide where I'm gonna put where my settler's gonna go. I think I decided on that campus up there so I can get +6, which is really good. And I'm just checking to see where the general, like how close I am. Oh yeah, and I went ahead and bought it. So I used the faith that I generated, and I went ahead and bought that general. So that's really good. Yep, and then we just basically gunline straight for theology. So the next, I would say, 10 turns or so, maybe 15 turns, are pretty boring. I'm kind of just sitting here waiting to get that temple unlocked, which is pretty boring. Technically, you could attack earlier if you wanted to. You could, get a few hypaspis, get a battering ram, and go straight in. My only concern with that, because that's what I've done that a lot. Like, I've done a lot of domination where I would just make swordsmen or, you know, just head in there as soon as I can. But as soon as the enemy gets knights, as soon as they get pikemen, you're kind of stuck. You're kind of like, okay, I can't really do anything to this person anymore. I guess I'll back off. But with Crusade, you can just keep going. You can just say, well, fuck it. Like, I have an extra plus 10 combat strength, so. So I personally like to wait until I get the Crusade, but that's just me. You could totally attack earlier if you wanted to. I think because that campus was a +6, I think I just went straight for that, yep. Normally I wouldn't build a campus, you know, first building, but when you have a +6, I'm basically gonna double my science. It's just like, okay, like, I'll do that.
All the world's a state.
So yeah, generally, like, a lot of playthroughs, I'll try to get like 8 to 10 cities by turn 100, but when you're doing domination, generally I like to do like 3 cities that I actually build, and then pretty much early on, and then all the other cities that I get are just through domination. And it ends up working out quite well that way.
Thousands have lived.
I think I'm going to probably, since you already know my strategy, I basically wait for an apostle, I get the temple, I get crusade. I'm probably going to skip the whatever, the 10 or 15 turns it takes to do that. And yeah, because otherwise it would just be, you know, waiting for another, you know, 10 or 15 minutes. So I will go back to that in a sec. Okay, so I am back. Basically just went ahead and skipped ahead to get theology, which I think it was only about, you know, like, I think like 8 turns. I went ahead and saved up the gold so I could immediately purchase the building, otherwise it would be an additional 10. But anyway, I remember trying to settle a settler over here, and right before I was about to do that, they just plop a city right there. So that was kind of annoying. I don't know if that was intentional, just like waiting for me, like, oh, he's gonna settle the city there. Nope. Anyway, I figure out right here, oh, I need 480. Okay, so I have to wait one more turn. And yeah, you could just build the temple, but it's faster to purchase it. Because it's all about speed. And then we go ahead and we get the double adjacency for holy sites. And then here I'm kind of confused. I'm like, wait, what? I didn't get my government? Like, I unlocked it, but I guess I might have skipped through it at one point. I didn't realize I had it, so yeah, that was kind of annoying. Could have had my other policies sooner. So generally, I like to do Strategos on the bottom one. Do the double adjacency one. And then I like to do the +2 loyalty to just help, you know, keep cities under my own loyalty, and then conscription, so that swordsmen are only taking 1 gold instead of 2, and archers cost nothing. then I made the battering ram back there. I'm going to go ahead and send that up. And then I go ahead and make a temple there. And I purchase a temple on Pella. And then I purchase an apostle. And then you have to wait next turn before you can actually use it, but you can see that pretty much most of their cities are already conquered, or converted. One thing to note is the capitals, even if you convert their capital, they will eventually revert back to their own religion because they have religious pressure that's put on them. So even though I did have all their cities, you know, converted, their capital, you know, essentially unconverted itself. So I'm gonna have to convert that again. But then we evangelize belief, and we get crusade. Boom. So generally I like to attack around turn 100. So that's with crusade, with a few hypaspis, with archers, with a general, and a battering ram. Usually that's doable around turn 100. And it's quick enough that the enemy really can't do anything to stop it. And you'll find out, I find out right now, it's just, yep, going straight to war. The enemy can't do anything. It's just going to be a complete steamroll. So you don't get the +10 bonus until you're actually in their territory. So right there, boom, 54 combat strength. And we just start sending them in. That's it. Start sending them in. Yeah, 62 combat strength. That's pretty nuts. For being in the classical era, I mean, that's more than a musketman. It's insane. That's why I like to wait for crusade, you know, like 50 combat strength is good. But then when you have 62, it's just, it's pretty dumb. Like what can you do against that? Like, they even have crossbows, and like, it just won't matter. Like, I think they also have pikemen, and yeah, it just won't matter. Like, these units are just too strong with all these bonuses. So generally, I like to try to siege the cities if I can, meaning kind of surround them. But because I do so much damage to them, I'm just going to attack them directly without sieging them. Anytime you see a ranged unit, especially a crossbowman, you want to try to get to that as soon as possible. I think that's why I was like, okay, I can go over here and start attacking it. But I think I opt for taking out that warrior first. One thing to note is it's a good idea to kill all the units around the city first before you take the city, because as soon as you take the city, you lose that +10 combat strength from crusade. So it's a good idea to just kill everything first before you take it. Okay, yeah, they killed one of my archers. That's unfortunate, but yeah, doesn't really matter. That's why you make more. God, I love Hypaspists. Like, they're just so strong. Ugh. I just love them. Like, everyone that plays Alexander, like, they all praise the Heteroi, which are the cavalry units, because they start with a free promotion, and yeah, they're definitely really strong, but like, Hypaspists, like, just something about them. I just love them. You can see, like, boom, like that pikeman just attacked an injured Hypaspist. It took half its health away. Like, yeah. Like, yeah. Normally that would have one-shot it, but, you know, with Crusade and all the general bonuses, it's just like, nope. Yeah, 68 versus 48. That's just insane. Just absolutely nuts. Generally, I like to get Tortoise and Battlecry. I mean, Battlecry is a no-brainer. The +7 combat strength. But Tortoise is also really good because even crossbows don't do that much to these guys when they have Tortoise, and they receive all the bonuses from Crusade and whatnot. Crossbows do like almost nothing to them, so it's kind of nuts. So I like to get Tortoise. And that's the thing about like regular melee units that I really like, is they just have the best promotions in the game when it comes to combat. I mean, +7 from Battlecry, +10 defense strength from range units. They can attack extra times as long as they have the movement cost. They have they receive +1 movement. They don't get any penalties for like amphibious, like if you attack across a river. I mean, it's just they get an additional +10 combat strength from if they fight in like a district. Like, it's insane. Like, they get really good promotions, and that's why I prefer them over cavalry. You can see just how easily that city was taken. You know, they had a pikeman, they had crossbowmen, had some other units. Like, it didn't even matter. I didn't lose. Well, I lost an archer, but I mean, it's just they can't do anything to stop it. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's GG basically. And here they actually, yeah, they attack the city. Kind of like a last-ditch effort to try to get the city back. So generally, when you're taking cities, you know, loyalty is kind of an issue. You want to try to aim for like the high pop cities over the low pop cities, because population is the main contributor to how much loyalty is going to affect you in a negative way. But also, if you're in a golden age, it really helps. So I like to, you know,
People believe that
I like to go for, you know, the high pop cities. And I'm already in a golden age, and I ended up getting the I forgot what it's called, but you can basically buy builders and sellers with faith and gold. And the gold is at like a 50% decrease in cost, so that's really good. Because that's one problem with Domination, is like your cities are going to be kind of underdeveloped because you spent your production building a big sexy army rather than building, you know, campuses and stuff, so you kind of have to make up for that. But generally I like to get crossbows unlocked as quickly as I can, because, you know, crossbowmen are just so much better than archers. I mean, it's just so much better, and the crossbowmen can do really good damage against walls, you know, if you have the crusade and everything else, all the other bonuses. So it's a really good idea to get the crossbows. So I pretty much go straight for that. And then man-at-arms is also really good too. I'll go for man-at-arms after I get crossbows unlocked. And then I also made, is it Yerevan? Whatever, the city-state that's to the left. I became suzerain of that, which honestly kind of helped bog down the units, made it, you know, kind of worked out for me.
People who cannot find her.
It's just crazy, like, how fast the cities melt. Just 2 attacks, it's almost dead. Like, it's just insane. It's absolutely nuts. Normally it would be like, you know, like 4, 5, 6 attacks to get it red bar. It was just 2 attacks. It's just so, like, it's so powerful. I think here do I actually buy the Great Engineer? Imhotep? I think I do. Which, that's a pretty handy one to get. And if you're generating all this faith, you can certainly get it before anyone even makes points to actually buy it. It allows you to get ancient and classical wonders, 2 of them, pretty much gems them. Pretty much makes it so you just get them immediately, so it's pretty damn good to get. I don't know if I actually got it or not. I don't think I did. I think I went with the general, another general, because I was trying to get the one with the core unit. And I realized, oh, it wasn't that one, so. So moving forward with this strategy, because eventually you're going to have to upgrade the swordsmen, you know. They're going to be strong for quite a while, but eventually you got to upgrade them. You know, typically I'll do man-at-arms, of course, and then I'll try to get knighter so I can get musketmen. And usually around the Renaissance era, when I have musketmen, usually I've already taken out a civ and possibly 2 civs. And the continent will usually be mine at that point, and then I'll start focusing on a navy, kind of like in the Renaissance era. So that's typically what I like to do.
Simile lovis, caelesti regno, imperium tui late patet. Optime.
Yeah, domination is just, it's awesome. You know, it's just like, in my opinion, it's definitely the best way to get ahead of the AI. Is just take their cities. You know, it's just trying to outproduce the AI. First of all, I mean, it's definitely doable if you're like really good at, if you have a lot of knowledge of the game and you know how to get high yields quickly. You definitely can outproduce the AI, but you need a pretty good start for that to work. If you have an average or below average start, probably not going to work out for you. And so I feel like most games, most games you can't really be peaceful and expect to get ahead. You kind of have to attack them and take all their shit. But the benefit of attacking them is you get basically free stuff. I mean, I have 2 wonders that I already got. The Oracle, and I think it's called Machu Picchu, I think that's what it's called, or is that the Civ's name? I don't even remember. But like, you can't get that stuff if you play peacefully, if someone's already built it, you know. So domination is just OP basically. And Gathering Storm, I think, did a pretty good job of balancing it, because the vanilla version, it was just stupid easy to dominate. Like, civs would pretty much never make musketmen. They would just make knights pretty much and swordsmen, but they wouldn't make musketmen. So you could just basically get a whole army of musketmen and you could just steamroll them, and you know, there's nothing they could do about it. And now, you know, civs will get musketmen pretty quickly, and they'll get knights quicker, and you know, cavalry got nerfed quite a bit. They don't do as well, they can't even use siege towers or battering rams anymore against cities that have walls.
I'd imagine the whole if it's natural to kill.
So quite a lot of changes. And then the whole loyalty thing, which I remember, like, first playing Gathering Storm, I just thought the loyalty was the most broken, like, dumb thing in the world, but it's actually not that bad. It seems like a nightmare, like, oh my gosh, like, every city I take I'm gonna lose, but that's not the case at all. There's a lot of ways that you can overcome loyalty. Like, policy cards, there's probably at least 3 policy cards that I can think of that help you with loyalty. There's wonders that help you with loyalty. Governors help with loyalty. What age you're in helps with loyalty. Population helps with loyalty. So there's a lot of things you can do to overcome loyalty. And as long as you know how to do that stuff, like, it's not bad. Like, I always like to get the policy where I get +2 loyalty for a unit that is sitting in the capital or sitting in the city center. That helps out a lot. Getting a governor in the city that you just take, that helps out a lot. Building a monument gives you an additional +2 loyalty. So, you know, if the city doesn't have a monument, build a monument. You'll get +2 loyalty from that. You know, so there's things you can do to overcome it. You can see how they were, you know, loyalty started to go down as soon as I took the city out, or I took the city out. As soon as I took the unit out of the city, then I put the unit right back in there. I should have done the join ongoing war. I don't know why I didn't do that. She probably would have agreed. I would have had another +5 combat strength, but I mean, it didn't really matter. I ended up, you know, knocking him out of the game, but still, like, that's another thing you can do. Get more combat strength. God, the main reason I like Alexander, though, is just that music. That music is so good. He's got the best music in the game, in my opinion. I can't believe, so this video's been going on for about an hour. I think I'm gonna probably stop it here. Next video I'll take over the rest of Egypt and I'll start to work my way to Rome and start to take them out. Like I said, I want to try to get this whole continent to myself. So yeah, I will go ahead and make part 2. See you then.